Today, we have a very special guest. He's a philanthropist, a dating coach, a veteran, and an author of a book called Dating After Divorce, Mr. Rob Malloy himself. When someone mentions soft life, most of the time we equate it to money and luxury, which that is part, but truly soft life begins with self-love first, working through trauma and exploring the real joy of life. It's a life free of stress and full of purpose. My name is Miracle. I'm a business owner and educator. My guest and I would like to let you in on some soft life secrets. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Indeed.
This has been a long time coming.
It has.
You were there for the launch of Soft Life Secrets, and I want to thank you personally for supporting me during my venture, the beginning, and up until now. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a great journey watching the growth. Congratulations on your platform and your expansion and everything that God has for you.
Thank you. So at the launch, a lot of women were inquiring about the dating coach and wanted to know your story. I was like, he's going to be on the podcast. Just hold on. So Rob, the question many people want to know, are you in a relationship currently?
Am I currently in a relationship?
Yes.
Yes, I'm in a relationship with God.
With God, okay.
That is my relationship.
Ladies, you better know him. You better learn who he is. Okay, so you're dating, actively dating?
Yeah, I'm single and I'm actively dating.
But in a relationship with God?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
And I think that's important because if a person tells you that that they're not dating at all, but they do certain things, then that's questionable activity to me.
Right. So do you believe if you tongue kiss, you go together?
Yeah, tongue kiss is deep. Tongue kiss is deep. That ain't no, hey, have a good night, sweetie, I'll talk to you later. It ain't nothing.
That's deep, right?
That's deep.
Hey.
We together.
We together.
That's good.
That is funny. Tell me a little bit about your story. Tell the audience what actually happened and how you developed the book.
Right. Well, again, my name is Rob, your favorite silver fox.
Fox.
I think my story is unique because it's my story and my journey. But I think that there's a lot of men that share very similar stories. I got married when I was young. I was 21 years old when I got married, military, and I was just trying to figure things out. And my parents have been married for a long time. They've been together for over 60 years.
Wow.
Right? And so that was a big influence on me. I wanted to have a family. I wanted to be married forever. I wanted an amazing wife like my mom was amazing to my dad. And I wanted to be someone who was dedicated, someone who understood how to be a leader like my dad. And so I wanted to follow that. The thing was I wasn't properly prepared. So the first marriage was short-lived. It was only 5 years old.
Okay.
5-year marriage. And then after that, obviously, I took some time to learn and navigate and try to date again. At the same time, I had kids to raise. And so I tried it again at 30. And, again, and to this day, I still believe the marriage is one of the highest honors that we can have in relationships. I still feel that way. So I gave it a shot again, and it didn't work out. We can get into that a little bit later, but, I was married for 8 years.
Wow.
Right? So after that, it was all about, hey, the common denominator with this thing not working out is me. So obviously I need to do some additional work.
Really?
And so, so I've been unmarried now for about 7 years.
Okay.
And so dating is different. And I wanted to share my story because I've learned so much about myself and how I can improve and the things that I didn't do and wasn't prepared for, which I've been doing the work now these past 7 years. So I wanted to share my journey. I also wanted to help those with similar stories to live the best life and actually thrive and be successful after divorce.
Okay, successful after divorce. That's interesting. Okay, I myself have been married twice.
Okay.
It's about the same amount of time.
Okay.
But it was interesting when you said the common denominator was you.
Right.
The common denominator was me, but I was the good. I'm just joking. But no, I'm just saying. What advice would you give people who have been married before?
Yeah.
Who kind of have gave up on marriage? Because I believe in marriage too.
Sure.
Like you, my parents been married. Well, they were married before my father passed away for 58 years.
Yeah.
And so I believe in marriage.
Sure.
I believe in love.
Right.
And a lot of my friends say, would you do it again? I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it would have to be different. Like, you know what I mean?
It has to be an extraordinary situation.
Exactly. Exactly. So you get it. So what advice would you give people who've been married,
Yeah.
who've had 2 failed marriages?
Sure. Yeah. First of all, embrace your journey. I think that's so important because we beat ourselves up.
Right.
And sometimes we even get to a point to where maybe love and marriage isn't in the cards for us. But on the contrary, it's an opportunity to be the best version of ourselves without distractions. Sometimes when you're in that marriage, you lose your identity.
Right.
Right. And then you forget what makes you happy. You forget the things that you enjoyed while you were actually, or before you was with that person, and you put goals on the back burner and things like that. So take advantage of that opportunity to do things that you felt like you should have done.
Right.
And that's just exploring and enjoying life with no distractions.
Okay.
So, it's okay. It's part of your journey. It happens, right? And, moving forward, it's really so important to re-identify who you are.
Okay.
We're not the same before we get married. We're not the same while we're married. So why would we be the same after marriage? So identify what's most important to you, and just take off. Sometimes we just get stuck. We have to take off and embrace your support system. That's very important.
Support system is very important. When you went through your divorce, okay, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Was it your fault?
Was it my fault? I had my faults.
Okay.
Right.
That's fair.
I think anytime you talk about a partnership, there's 2 parties involved. And so we both have our part that we played.
Okay.
So by all means, I played a part. There was things that I could have done better. And even to make it last, I probably could have fought even harder.
Okay.
I probably could have, ego, pride, just wanting to be single. Like I admit it, I wanted to be single. I wanted to see what that's like.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, at the point to where I felt like it was already over.
Okay.
Then you know what? Why keep going in this vicious cycle?
Right.
While things are good, things are bad, then you remember why you don't want to be with this person, and then you go through that cycle, right? So I'm like, you know what? It's not working with this person. How about without this person?
Okay. So being single, is it all what you thought it was going to be?
I've learned the most about myself being single, and you have to also keep in mind I was 21. At 21, I didn't know what purpose was. I didn't know what mission was. I was in the military,
so
I was already being told what I was a robot. Right. I was literally a robot. But taking these experiences that I've had, I have no regrets in anything in life, and I just compile all my experience and I changed the narrative. Okay.
That's interesting. So with men, what would you say? It sounds like you've matured a lot.
Absolutely.
Since 21.
Oh yeah.
But what advice do you give you have a son?
I do. I have a son and 3 daughters.
Whoa.
All adult kids.
Okay. So this is a good question. I'm very asking you. Would you want your daughters to marry someone like you?
The man that I am today, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's all I can give them. I can give them by example. I can share with them my experiences.
Right.
And I can only pray that they take the knowledge and wisdom that I give them and apply it.
Right.
When you talk about kids, they're hard-headed. They want to try on their own, especially the Gen Y, the millennials.
They're different.
They're different. They're the, I see you, but I'm going to try something different.
I'm going to try something different. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. And I have a great relationship. I consider a great relationship with all my daughters.
Okay, good.
And my son.
Good.
We can talk. We do talk. Some stuff I don't want to hear, but hey, they're willing to tell me. So hey, don't stop.
That's another thing with this
being
generation. They
transparent with
tell
me.
everything.
They do.
Too
They do.
much.
Right.
Okay. Okay, let me get to some of the questions. What were some of the most challenging emotions you faced post-divorce, and how did you work through them?
Great question. Again, when we talk about divorce, it's identity. Because the way I looked at being divorced is it was a failure of leadership. That means that I'm no longer a leader of my family as far as in the same household.
Yeah.
And, it was just tough because I felt like I could have done better. You go through the blame game and things like that. So the toughest emotion I would say was just feeling like a failure of being the leader of the household.
Wow, that's
right?
interesting.
Also, in addition to that, I no longer am covering my wife, at the time. So she lose that covering. So sometimes you're like, you know what? Now she out in these streets. It's my fault she out in the streets. But short-lived.
You felt bad.
Short-lived, but yeah, I felt bad temporarily. Okay. But I had to, shift the focus because you can go down a rabbit hole when you start blaming yourself, right? And it's hard to come up from that.
That's interesting because women don't think men care after it's over, and they don't think that, like you said, you felt like you left her out there in the streets.
Yeah.
And you took your vows seriously.
That's right.
When you said you was going to cover her.
Yeah. And counseling, even going through counseling and therapy, there's always the what if and how I could have done better. And,
Wait, did you do therapy during or after?
Both.
Okay, we're going to get to that later.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah. Because a lot of our men don't believe in therapy. So we're going to talk about
that. I think, we could talk about that.
Okay.
For me, again, I'm looking at my parents and looking at longevity, and I'm looking at loyalty and trust and things like that. And so that was also a part of the challenge. Like, why couldn't I do that?
Okay.
Why couldn't I fulfill that?
Right.
It's in the bloodline, it's in the DNA. So what's my issue?
What's your issue?
Right. And of course, I had to look at it. All stems to why did you get married? People are so focused about the divorce, cheating, disloyalty, money.
Yeah.
If you trace it back to the foundation,
exactly,
that's really going to explain why you're divorced.
Exactly. I can honestly sit here and say I married for the wrong reasons twice.
Okay.
And you know how they be like, oh, this was the guy that God sent. I never said. I mean, I know. And I feel like because I was raised properly and I had a great foundation, I used to think, oh, God's punishing me because he's like, you trying to do it your way.
Right.
You're not waiting on me.
Yeah.
You say you are, but you're not waiting on me. You doing your own thing.
Yeah.
So let's see how that works. It is. But hey, I'm here.
Right.
But
freedom of choice.
Freedom of choice. But that's interesting to hear from your point of view because I have single girlfriends that talk about this all the time. Girlfriends that's been divorced and guys don't ever admit, the part that they played or the therapy they go through afterwards, the aftermath.
I think that has a lot to do with, we do have these conversations.
With
it's
each
just
other?
Not public conversations,
Okay. In the barbershop?
Wherever, barbershop, at the house, watching the game, smoking cigars, whatever the case is. And it's interesting because now that guys are being more vocal, don't nobody want to hear it. Nobody really wants to hear the male's perspective in terms of, I think that, we're in a...
Who don't want to hear it, honey? It's a whole audience that want to hear what y'all got to say.
That's something that we have to be introduced to because you got to understand that
Welcome
a
to
lot
Soft
of
Life
feedback.
Secrets.
A lot of feedback that we get is, okay, these guys putting these podcasts and, they're saying this and that. And it's like people are looking for specific things to either applaud, or either debate. Nobody wants to listen to comprehend. So that's kind of where we're at. That's the era that we're at. But, you know, I encourage people to keep lifting your voice, you know, keep being very specific and intentional in what you want to say and how you feel, even if it goes against popularity or contrary to people's belief.
Okay. All right.
Keep doing that.
All righty. Tell me this. Divorce can bring about a deep sense of loneliness. How did you cope with that? And what advice do you have for others that's going through the similar feelings?
Yeah.
I know when I first got divorced, you do feel a sense of loneliness. You come home every day to somebody, and then all of a sudden, you're walking into an empty house. Like, how did you cope with the loneliness?
Yeah, it was a struggle.
Really?
And it's really, it's going to be case by case. Because regardless, you know, everybody has different coping mechanisms and everybody has, you know, different vices. So let me say this first. What I would encourage people to do is to go through the process of grief. Go through the process, because if you understand what the process is, you'll understand your emotions and feelings. First one is you got to go through denial. Right? Like, it's okay to go through that.
Right here. Listen,
Well, let's cut the show off now and make them come back.
It's good. Go through the process of grief, because divorce is a grieving.
It's a loss.
It's a loss.
It's a loss. If you're with someone, regardless if you was with them a year or 20 years, you became one.
Right. You love them at some point.
You're losing a part of you, right? Not that you can't grow from it and regenerate, but it's a part that has been with you. And so from habits to memories and things like that. So you just have to understand now is the next chapter of your life, and there's going to be a transition period.
Okay. Did you find yourself comparing when you got out there and start dating, comparing women to the good things that your wife did? Or it's hard not to compare. Yeah. But did you? How did you keep the two separate?
Right. So I would say my method was very unique because I looked forward to dating. I look forward to dating again,
I like this.
And to be honest with you, I enjoyed the process after I got over depression, because I went through that.
Okay.
Yeah, I went through depression, anger, like I said, all of the things that come with grief and loss.
Okay.
So after going through that, after knowing that, you know what, I'm still a good man, regardless. Good. Right? I'm still a good father. So there was relationships that I had to mend before I started even dating again. From my parents, from my kids, from my siblings, because one of the issues that I had being married is I kept things close, niche. I didn't let anybody in, right? As opposed to my spouse at the time, she wanted everybody in, right? And so obviously there was a clash with that. So when it was done, I was just like, hey, you know what? I'm still Rob. I'm still loving brother. I'm still loving son. I'm still a father that believes in relationships with his kids. And once I started mending, it started from the internal to the external.
Okay.
So now my energy was different. You know, now I could put some clothes on and go out here and actually date.
And put your head up high.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yeah, that confidence came bike.
Oh.
I'm from Florida, so we say bike.
Baby, that confidence came all the way back. How do you view the idea of love and relationships now?
Yeah. Well, love, let me separate that, okay? Love is very significant, and I think that love takes time. Because if you don't allow love to develop, you'll get caught up with infatuation. You'll get caught up with lust. You'll get caught up with just making up for lost time. You'll get caught up with just wanting to be with someone and not be alone.
Right.
So I have understood that love is extremely important. And when it comes to relationship, there has to be a bigger foundation. So I put more weight and value in building a friendship. And just that process, because people will rush into a relationship, but they won't take time to be a friend. You know? So when you think about just, even from a platonic, when you're with someone, you don't mind being transparent with your friend.
You're right.
You know, hey, I ain't got no money today. So if we go out, you gonna have to carry it.
Right.
Right? Or you know what, man, I'm just pissed off today. I can't believe. That's what you can share with a friend.
Okay.
But if you jump into a relationship, you don't want to share your flaws. You don't want people to know what you got going on.
Right.
Right? You have to go through that process of tearing down those walls and then building up new ones. Right? Because there's always going to be walls. It just depends on which ones you tear and which ones you build. Right? When you build them, that's for protection.
Right.
So so I looked at it in terms of, let me take my time and get to know folks. You know, so now my philosophy is,
Come on, give it to me. What is it?
my philosophy is I will hire slow and fire fast. So I will take my time to hire, but if there's an issue, I'll fire you just like that.
Okay, that's good.
And live with that.
That's a good issue.
And live with that.
And live with it. Wait. Okay. So, embracing the soft life, because you appear to live a very soft life.
Do you think so?
Drama-free, stress-free.
Okay.
At least that's what I see.
Okay. Well, I was waiting for the definition. Okay. You say drama-free, stress-free. Yeah.
But what's your definition of the soft life? Because people don't think men can live a soft life, and I believe they can.
Okay.
Especially it's a maturity level.
Right.
So what does the soft life look like to you after going through a divorce? And how do you prioritize your peace and your self-care?
Yeah, I think that you said it within itself. I did struggle with the soft life metaphor and things like that because I felt like it was more geared to a cushion life.
Oh, okay. No.
Right, right. But apparently it's not. So for me, it's, again, prioritizing who I am, what my purpose is. And so anything that I deal with has to be complementary to what I'm doing.
Okay.
And that's very key. It has to be in alignment. If something happens, if I meet somebody, and I'm not going to change everything that I'm doing to complement what they're doing.
Right.
I'm already operating in my purpose.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to be complementary to what I do.
So get on my level.
And what I encourage,
Get on my level.
and I think you alluded to this earlier, but what I encourage for men to do is to develop an identity. It's so important for men to develop an identity. I even have friends and family members that go from relationship to relationship to relationship with no gap in between. You found somebody who's finer. You found somebody who understands you better. You find somebody who got more money. You got somebody that will do more for you than the last person.
Right.
But you haven't established an identity to make yourself more attractive so that you can attract what you're actually looking for, the right person. And it goes from, finding your purpose, putting into work. Because when you're looking for your purpose and you're finding your purpose, you're going to do things that encompass discipline, consistency, being trustworthy, and actually elevating yourself, personal growth and development. And that has nothing to do with the woman.
Okay.
Those are things that you need to be doing on your own. So if you're working on that, then you're not looking at someone to provide something for you. That's a powerful position.
What is your take? Okay, this is good. I'm glad we going down this road because we finna get to this question. I'm gonna ask it. I know what y'all waiting for. Okay, so what are your thoughts on? You said you like to be friends with your people before you get into a relationship.
That's right.
You build a friendship first.
That's right.
So, when in a relationship with someone, do you believe that your partner can have friends of the opposite sex? Or do you think their take is the same as your take? I want to be friends first.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go in for the kill.
Right. Well, I think it's important to figure out what the mindset is, what you guys have in common. And I think that'll be something that actually comes in conversation as you get to know them.
Okay.
If we're getting to know each other and you're talking about, hey, you know what, me and James, we do this, do that, like he's already a part of your life, then if that person is that significant, then it shouldn't be a problem to make the introduction.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. But you got some men that are intimidated by the friendship.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just going to give you an example. I have a lot of male friends that can come to me and talk to me about certain things, but guys in the past have been intimidated
Yeah.
by my male friends. And it's not that they're a secret.
Yeah.
They're open to be around. But, you know, some men think that no man is a friend of yours. He's just waiting for the right time to strike and come in and kill, you know.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on that? Do
So,
you really think a man can be a platonic friend?
I do believe it's possible. Also, being a man and knowing and seeing different situations, you know, I do have friends that become predators to, you know, women that they know, especially whenever they are going through a situation. And I have to say predators because, and I'm gonna go ahead and give the game. I mean, it's nothing.
Give it.
Men have, we have a sixth sense to where we understand when a woman is going through something, and we know what she may need as far as the words that need to be said, maybe the kind gestures that she needs, and maybe even when she's seeking attention because she's missing something. Like we can smell that. Now, whether we act on it or not is up to us, right? So we know when women are vulnerable, right? So we kind of look at that. And so what kind of friend is that? Do they seem to be around when things are going on? Do they value us getting to know each other? Or are they on the side, well, what you know about him? Well, let's check this out. Let's check this out. Like, you know, what are your true intentions? And so sometimes we come into your life to get rid of people that aren't really there for you. That's a possibility as well. Sometimes you need protection from your protection.
Y'all listening? Okay. Oh my gosh, this is so good. I'm gonna have to bring you back.
Well, bring me back.
This is so good. I got one question for you. Why do men stay? I mean, you got out of your marriage, but why do men stay in marriages that they're unhappy with?
Yeah.
Is it cheaper to keep her, or is it they don't know how to leave, or they're just waiting to? I mean, and it could go for a woman too. Like, why do people stay in marriages that they are unhappy with?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I love the question. The short answer is hope is powerful. Hope is powerful. You can look at a situation that's terrible, but in your heart you have hope that this thing can turn around. Right? It can turn around from maybe going to counseling. It could turn around if we start doing freaky stuff. It may turn around if I go to college or I get a better job or we get more money. It may turn around if the kids are now out of the house and it's just us. So that's hope. So sometimes we think in advance. And I'll admit.
That's the mature answer.
That's the mature answer, right?
But the unmature answer, they don't want nobody else to have her.
Well, I mean, there are people like that, you know, but what's interesting with that is even if you step outside, sometimes it becomes a game like, I don't want to let you go. I don't want that particular person who you was with to have you either. Right? So, I mean, it's so many different variables, but honestly, I think what it comes down to is obviously people don't want to look like a fool, right?
Okay.
And so at least you know what you're dealing with. At least you're with the person that you invested in, your time, your resources, your memories, the things that you have overcome. Like sometimes it's a bigger picture type situation, right? And honestly, I think the 80-20 rule is a real thing. 80-20 rule. Like,
what's that?
All right, so let's say, regardless of who you with, nobody has 100% of everything. Because you have to build up to it.
You're right.
Right? So nobody has, and so you start thinking, well, what is most important? And a lot of times when you're going through life with a person and you with them a long time and you had kids with them and you guys done went through this and that and was there for each other during death and things like that, you start looking at, okay, this is 80%, but I'm missing 20%. 20% is excitement. 20% is trips and traveling. 20% is where there's no kids, it's just us and we hanging out. And so people escape to get that 20%, and it's not with the person who they've built 80% with.
Okay.
And the thing about it is once you cross that line, you can't go back. Once you cross that line, it's hard to go back. So you want to stay, you try to stay because you're thinking about that 80%, but you were so engulfed in that 20% that you stay torn for years of leaving and staying.
Okay, so I got 2 more questions for you.
You just say you got one more.
I changed my mind. I changed my mind. I can do
Caveat.
that. Okay, is cheating a deal breaker for you?
Is cheating a deal breaker?
You knew that question was coming.
Oh, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So cheating for me has to be defined, right? You have emotional cheating, you have physical cheating.
Right. But they're the same.
They're complementary. You can be emotionally with someone and never be physical with them.
But that's worse.
I mean,
Emotional
it really depends, though. So I would say, is cheating a deal breaker? And what I feel like cheating is, yes. And cheating to me is disloyalty.
Okay.
That's cheating. I know that you converse with people on the phone. You might even go out on a date and stuff like that. But before you get to that point, you have to become disloyal.
Okay.
And so what that means is you're detaching from me to do what you want to do.
Okay. So when men step out, okay, this goes back to what you were saying. When men step out of the house, but they're not going to leave the house,
Right.
like,
How does that work? Why did
yeah,
you do that?
Well, like, you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
what are you stepping at? What are you seeking outside that you may not be getting at home?
Right.
But if at home is that bad, why are you there?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a great question. So I also feel like cheating and infidelity is the end result of something else, right? So if you go back, to the foundation, if you dig a little bit deeper, before that man was like, okay, you know what? She doing this or she not doing this, so I'm gonna go ahead and step out.
Right.
When you get to the root of that, I think that is so key because men cry out too. Right? Men have needs too.
Right.
And it may not be as vocal because historically we're not great communicators verbally.
Right, all right.
But non-verbally, we're really good. Like we know how to get an attitude, we know how to walk past you and ignore you, right? Not that it's good, but we're experts at non-verbal communication. So that's why I think it's so important for men to have an identity, because when you have an identity, you understand that clear communication can solve a lot of issues.
Right.
Right? And so I think that it comes to, again, learning who you are. That man hasn't learned to communicate. So historically, nobody has taught him how to respond properly in his relationships. Like, take your pride and ego out the door and tell her, hey, you know what? I miss you kissing me. I miss you cooking breakfast and us having a conversation. I miss you not going out and hanging out with your girls and coming home like you had a blast. And here I am, going through some things. We don't talk anymore. Like, if we can work on that, and if she does not want to comply,
right.
I think I can say that, then it's going to convert into, you know what? This lady here at work adores me. This woman right here, every time I go out to the bar, the bartender, she buys me a drink. She says I'm handsome.
And you don't even get those compliments from home.
Right. So I think when it comes down to, because we could talk about cheating. Cheating should be a deal breaker, because if they cheat that one time, it's possible they can do it again. Right. But at the same time, I believe God can restore any relationship.
Well, yeah, I think so. But I think cheating is a sign of something missing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something is missing, like you said.
Yeah.
And I think men cheat for different reasons than women. Cheating is cheating, but women are emotional, like you said.
Right.
And it could be emotional attention.
Right.
And I just feel like, talking to different people,
Yeah.
guys and girls, I mean, men and women.
Yeah.
I feel like women, they're looking for something else that men can cheat, and it's nothing. It doesn't mean anything.
Emotional wise, right?
You get what I'm saying? It's not emotional, it's just physical. But women, they feel like it's emotional. Do you think that's true, or have it flipped the script? Women are just like men now.
Yeah. Well, I don't even want to put it on a gender.
Okay.
I believe that people can have one night stands, like men or women. Like women can initiate a one night stand, right? She may be on revenge mode, right?
Okay,
Or she may just be in a downward spiral, and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna just be free. I'm gonna just be liberated and do. Like, we don't know why she wants it. We just glad that we got the proposal.
Glad that
right?
you're here.
Like, you want me? For real, right
Tonight?
now. Yeah, right. And so, so I just believe anything can happen when it comes to matters of the heart and emotions. I think anything can happen with anyone. People that you would never suspect
Right.
would step out if they're in a certain emotional state.
Okay.
Right? So I think that men can also cheat emotionally as well. It happens all the time.
Okay.
Right? And it's not just after they get to it too.
Yeah,
Right? Sometimes in the beginning, they are searching. They have no identity, or they're struggling with identity. And a woman can come and pour into them like nobody has ever pour into them.
Right.
And they just gonna melt, right? Men melt, right?
Yeah.
I'm chocolate, I melt. Milk chocolate, right? With a cup, right? So I think if we could take ownership of our emotions, actions, and attitude, then we can not do the blame game on gender.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. This has been good. I will bring him back, so just hold on. But Rob, right
Yes.
now, tell the people where they can find you. Not only that, but he has a book out, y'all, called
Uncomfortable Conversations.
Uncomfortable Conversations.
I put that book together shortly after I was divorced. And I just had so many questions about, why do men do this? Why do women do that? How could men do this? How could women do that? And I just wanted to give a different approach on, before you get into relationships, take these things in heart.
Bam. Before you get in a relationship, read his book. Tell them where they can find you, Rob, on Instagram and on Facebook.
Yes. First of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate that. You can find your favorite Cyril Fox on everywhere you like to be at. So Instagram, it's I am Rob Malloy, as well as TikTok, as well as Facebook.
Okay.
But my brand, of course, find me at my website, which is www.robmalloy.com. And again, I have a brand new project, which is called Successful After Divorce, where I have a community of individuals that are trying to navigate just life,
Right.
not just dating, your
Right.
finances, your personal health and wellness, mental health.
Right.
And those things are so key to where if you deal with this, that is enough work before you start worrying about what's out there in the dating pool.
Right. That's what I'm gonna bring you back for the mental health. I tell anybody right now, before I even get in a relationship, anything, therapy is a must.
Right.
I mean, on both. Like, well, why we gotta go to therapy? We ain't getting married. Look, because I need to know not to waste my time.
That's a fact.
I don't need to waste no more time. I'm gonna be 50. I don't have time to waste.
The willingness of them doing that speaks volumes.
Exactly. The willingness of them doing that will speak volume to me.
That's right.
Because if you can't do that, you ain't ready.
Get out of here.
What?
Get out of here.
All right, y'all. This has been a great show, Rob. I will definitely bring you back. We got to talk about this mental health and therapy for men.
That's right.
But let me tell y'all something. This show right here, make sure you tune in, follow Rob, and until the next episode, see ya. Peace.
And we out.